Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Excelsior Auto Services. I'm pulling this episode out of the vault. This video was shot about 5 years ago and I never posted it because the issue that I stated in the video I never actually fixed. There ended up being some internal engine issues with this particular vehicle, 2003 Honda Accord. It had the K-Series in it and ended up having some damage to the cams, and the VTEC was acting all kind of funky. I never ended up posting the video because I didn't actually fix the problem, but I still think there's a great amount of information that could be useful to some people. Part numbers, locations of items that they're looking for, and some other things. So without further ado, let's get right into it and let's laugh at my COVID beard. Thanks, guys.
Okay, guys, coming at you with my crazy COVID beard. Yeah, check that out. Oh, Jesus, it's so great. Anyway, 2003 Honda Accord. I keep getting this P2646 code. And typically that has to deal with the VTEC solenoid, bank one or something along those lines. We pulled the VTEC solenoid. I checked a few things manually, and yes, it was definitely seized up. Got it replaced. There was no other issues, with that. Checked everything else. Changed the oil as well, and we still have that bucking at about 3,000 RPM where it just like shakes and it doesn't do anything. It won't go past 3,000 RPM. After I did the changes, though, it would only do it every now and again, but it was still there. So the last step, which is technically probably one of the first steps you should do, is change the oil and check the screens. But I already had pulled the solenoid off and I had verified that it was bad, so I went ahead and replaced. But now we got to clean the screens, which is not a part of the VTEC solenoid. And some people kind of get like they mistake that. There's a separate screen that you should clean out. Now this car's got quite a few miles. It was a great highway car. A buddy of mine picked it up. Jesus, my beard. Anyway, my buddy picked it up, and it's been a good car, but now we're just going to do a few more things to it. So I'm going to show you guys where the VTEC solenoid is. I'm going to show you guys where the screens are, and clearly I shouldn't have to tell you guys how to change the oil, but I will if you want me to. But anyway, so let me show you where that stuff is, all right? All right, guys, the screens that we're going to be cleaning, actually, I'm going to put my finger down here. See that bolt right there? It's a little 10mm bolt, and then there's one below it, and it's just a little cover. And we're going to pull that off. It's got a gasket on it, and it's got a metal screen on it, like a mesh screen. And the oil flows through there before it goes to the VTEC solenoid, and it's just like an extra filter. Sometimes it gets clogged up when we're not seeing the VTEC solenoid. It's not seeing the oil pressure that it needs to activate, so we get that check engine light. So you have to take off the power steering pump, which is just 2 bolts, nothing crazy. And then you have to remove the tensioner. Again, it's only 3 bolts, no big deal. It actually goes fairly quickly. So I released the tension and removed the belt already. And in order to do the power steering pump, there is a bolt right down here. And you can access that through right here, right there. And then the other bolt is right there. You're going to loosen that up. It's going to take it off the bracket, and you're going to just kind of move it over this way. All right. And then once I get this off, I'm going to come back and I'll show you where all 3 bolts are for the tensioner. Going to pop those off. 2 little 10mm bolts right there. I'll get a light. That way we can illuminate it a little better once I get some stuff out of the way. All right. Be right back. All right, guys. I got the tensioner off. I got the power steering pump kind of out of the way. I did. There's a valve cover bolt right here that kind of holds the line down. Bolt kind of looks like this right here. Focus! There we go. Something like that. Just holds that bracket down. So I took that off so I can move the power steering pump, like I said. And then you got to pull the tensioner off. That tensioner goes right here. And as you can tell, 1 12mm bolt there, 1 12mm bolt there, and then you pull that center bolt right there. That's also 12. Those 3 bolts get that out of the way. Now, show you what we're going after here. I'm going to get down in there. All right, see this right here? That 10mm bolt, that 10mm bolt. We're going to pull that little cover off and see what kind of stuff is in that screen real quick. All right, let's go ahead and pull that off and I'll show you. Alright, as you can tell, we got the little piece off. There wasn't a whole lot of dirt in it, and let me show you why. I don't know if you guys can tell, but look. See how the screen is actually ripped right there? Now that tells me exactly why the actual VTEC solenoid was seized up. This screen was not exactly filtering like it should have been. And this will actually change what I believe will actually change the oil pressure if it's not properly screening. And as you can tell, it's got quite a bit of contaminant debris in there. And so it changes the oil pressure, and then it throws it into limp mode, I believe. Regardless, we went ahead and changed the VTEC solenoid because, like I said earlier, it was definitely seized up. Now I know why. Not a big deal, though. This little gasket typically is in stock at your local parts store. It is actually a Dorman part number, D-O-R-M-A-N, part number 917269. 917269. Again, Dorman, they make a ton of parts. Let's see. And I'll link below the actual Honda part number if you want that as well. I know my Honda store quoted me $25 for that entire piece. Not just the filter, but just the entire piece. But, again, you can just change out that black little gasket and that screen for about $7, somewhere around there. Again, Dorman part number 917269. I actually have a couple here in stock. I always keep them here in the shop. So we're going to swap it out, put it all back together, and see how it runs. Sweet. Got the gasket installed in the new housing. I cleaned up the housing a little bit with some brake clean before I put that in there because you don't want to get brake clean on that. But I cleaned up the housing with a little brush because it was pretty oil covered, and I don't like putting things back together dirty. But there it is installed, so we're going to install it on the car. We'll take this over here. Come on, gimbal. Alright, gimbal's doing something funky here. Stop. Alright, so right where this goes, we need to make sure that that's all cleaned out as well, that there's no debris or anything in there. I've already cleaned it out, but let's get this thing put back together and get this thing on the road and see if that fixes the problem. There she is installed. So now we're going to do the tensioner. And again, it is a bolt here, a bolt there, and then the center bolt goes right there. And we're just going to do everything in reverse order. Get that power steering pump mounted back up, get it fired up, and make sure our belt is routed properly. And then we're going to put it on the road. So hopefully that fixes the issue. Alright, it's all back together. I'm going to double check and make sure there's no leaks or anything like that, which we have. So let's go ahead and take this thing for a test drive and make sure it works. Alright guys, so that did not fix the problem. Now there's one more thing that we can check, but I've never had one go bad. But the screen, with that screen that I showed you guys earlier being ripped and not filtering properly, it goes right by another VTEC oil pressure solenoid before it gets to the actual VTEC solenoid. And I'm afraid that may have put grime, grit, or anything and damaged that particular solenoid as well. So there's one more solenoid that I'll show you guys. They have it here in stock in town. And once I get that, I'm gonna run and go get it. And once I get that, I'll show you guys where it goes. Super easy to get to, right on the side of the motor. And hopefully that fixes the problem. This is quite literally the very last piece you can replace with getting the P2646 code. And I literally have ran down the entire list of what these problems are commonly caused. So the top 3 that I gave you guys already, normally about 98% of the time those fixes fix the problem. So we're down to this last solenoid, and I believe it was all caused by that screen being broken and all that dirt and debris getting down into these solenoids and damaging them. So I'll be right back. I got to run to the parts store and get that part, and then I'll show you guys where it's at. Alright, thanks. Okay guys, so I ran to the parts store and got the last sensor. Again, it hardly ever goes bad, but hopefully I can get close enough and you guys can see there are little screens along this solenoid that goes in the side of the motor. And again, with that other screen being ripped, I think I have it here, yeah. With this one being ripped, see that? Oh, focus! There we go. And letting all that debris pass through. I'm thinking, again, this is one of the last issues that ever goes wrong, but with my conditions. This is another VTEC oil pressure solenoid, and I'll show you where it goes. Alright guys, I'll show you where this sensor goes. I don't, you can kind of see it. See that 10 mil bolt down right there? Right there, go ahead and, Sasha, go ahead and turn that light on real quick. And shine it down here. Right about. There we go. I think you might be able to see it right there. We go. Alright, so this sensor, see that plug? And that one 10 mil bolt? Sorry, it's all shaky, right? There. That's what we're going after. I already unhooked it. Just pull that 10 mil bolt out, slide that out. It's got some O-rings, so it might be a little stuck, but I'm betting as soon as I pull that, it's going to have stuff all in it. All right, give me just a second. All right, got the sensor out. It has been replaced before. Not necessarily dirty, but it's an aftermarket unit that has failed. So we are going to put the new unit in. This car's got like 260,000 miles on it. Typically you get about 140, 150 out of these, out of a factory one. Aftermarket units tend to fail a little bit sooner. There was a lot of debris around the end and some in the screens. Not enough to what I would consider cause an outright failure, but I did check it, the impedance and everything, and it's a bad unit. So we're going to throw the new one in and hopefully that fixes the car. If not, I'm going to push it outside and catch it on fire. Alright, going to replace the new unit. I'll be back. Alright, well, it looks like we're just going to set it on fire because we've changed everything in the VTEC solenoid system and it keeps giving us the code. So worst case scenario is the cams because this car was not taken care of before my friend bought it. So we're just going to set it on fire.
Burn, baby, burn.
So, send it on to you guys. Thanks.